Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Yasharal and Yehudah. We are Hebrews, listening to none other than Pastor John J. Tatum. I got some truth. Song is entitled We Are Hebrews. I don't own the rights to this music. Listen, to the grafted in Gentiles and to the body of Hamashiach. This is the Shabbat, and we, the people of the book broadcast, is going down. Yes, the Basora of truth. Yeah, we're here to wake up Yaakov and Yehudah. Yeah, we here to set them free, help them to realize that Yahusha has called the people. He's called the nation unto himself, right? He has called the people whom he has chosen. And this people whom he has chosen to receive his Basora of truth, his Ruach HaKodesh, and to reign as kings and priests in the earth. Yahuah, Yahuah, in the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, I give you praise. On this your Shabbat, I exalt and magnify your name. On this your Shabbat, I worship and praise your name. On this your Shabbat, I give you glory and honor and praise. On this your Shabbat, oh, your Shabbat, Yahuah, I pray in the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach that you would take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahuah, the words that you've given to Hamashiach, he has given to me. And I have kept those words. I have guarded those words as a guardian of the Torah of truth. I have guarded your as a man, Yaakov, Yehudah, Gaal. I have guarded your Basora. And in the name of Yahusha, you have called me to deliver it by the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, now having the capabilities to do just that, because I have received the Ruach HaKodesh. And by it the engrafted word of Yahuah and Yahusha. I give you praise for the Basora made flesh, Yahusha Hamashiach. I give you praise in the name of Yahusha for your Basora, your Torah. Yahuah, allow the words that I speak not to cause anyone to be turned out of the way, that will cause anyone, not to cause anyone to stumble, cause anyone to be to come up lame in the name of Yahusha. Yahuah, I pray that you would reign in the name of Yahusha Hamashiach over me. That you would reign over the words that I speak. That they may go forth and be spirit and life by the Ruach HaKodesh. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuah, Yahusha, my strength, my Redeemer, my Yeshua. I thank you. Listen, it's the Shabbat. It's the day in which Yahuah has called us to set apart as sacred, right? A day of rest, a day of reflection, a day of recognizing to what extent Yahuah has established this day of rest for a people that he has called by his name to follow until the end, a perpetual covenant. Yahuah has a perpetual covenant with a people. Hallelujah. And he is gracious through Hamashiach to provide Yeshua to those who are Gentiles. Hallelujah. We got some truth. I got some truth. We got some truth. CD. John J. Tatum. We Hebrews. It's the title of the song. Listen. We are Hebrews. Wake up, Yaakov. Wake up, Yehudah. It's not just knowing that you Hebrews, but it's accepting Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and his Basora of truth and receiving his Ruach HaKodesh and walking in the order that he has established you as a people. He has put his Ruach HaKodesh in those who have received it. And this has caused us to be heirs of Yahuah, establishing his kingdom in the earth. We're Hebrews. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We got to remember. We got to remember Yasharal. We got to remember Yehudah. scattered through the four corners of the earth. We have to remember those that are on the continent. We have to remember those that are in Mexico, those that are in Brazil, those that are in Colombia. We have to remember those that are in Haiti, those that are in Britain, those that are in the northern parts of the territories where which we've been scattered. Hallelujah. I'm here to wake you up, you Hebrews. But not just your Hebrews called by his name. Return with faith in Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and receive the Besorah of truth. Hallelujah. Hey, we going in on this Shabbat. Hallelujah. We Hebrews. Listen. As a nation of people, we are to be proud of our heritage. Right? Right? Even in the midst of the tribulation that we have experienced at the hands of these heathen nations, right? Who has literally stripped us of our identity, right? Stripped us of our name, stripped us of our culture, stripped us of our language. Listen, when we are awakened, we are to recognize and appreciate this Besorah, this Torah that Yahuah has given to us to reestablish with us our identity. But it don't stop there. Don't stop there. It ain't because you just Hebrews, but it's because you received the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and you have received his Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, it's more than just being Hebrews. It is more than just being Hebrews. It's a good thing to be a Hebrew. Right? It is a righteous thing to be a Hebrew because Yahuah has identified you as his people. The people that are called by his name. Right? The people that are called by his name. The people that he had declared if they would just humble themselves and pray. Listen, 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 listen. Listen, if my people, Yahusha said, right? This is what Yahuah said now. Yahusha said his people. Yahuah said his people, right? If his people, which are called by his name, Yahuah said his people, right? His people. His people. His people, which are called by his name. Listen. We are, where's that? Oh, here it is. 2 Chronicles 7:11, right? It's not enough to be Israel. It's not enough to be Hebrew. It's not enough to be of the tribe of Yehudah, right? The tribe of Yehudah and everything we've had as history in the original covenant, even up through the new renewed covenant, right? Is our history. It's an example of what we should and should not do, right? Because we now have a record of who our ancestors were. We have a record of who our forefathers was. And by this record, by this account, we can now assess what was done correctly and what was done by them that was incorrect, right? And we can determine to do the things that Yahusha, right, Hamashiach presented in the renewed covenant to us, the Besorah of truth, the Torah made flesh, right, the word of Elohiym, right? Yahusha said, I have given them your name, Yahuah, right? He said, you keep my commandments as I have kept the Father's commandment. There ain't nothing new under the sun, right? If we, his people, understand and recognize what we did wrong, then we should be able to do what we need to do right and then do it. We can't just live and be Hebrews. We just can't live and be Hebrews and just expect that alone to cause us to be a kingdom servant people. Yahusha came and brought the fulfillment of the original covenant. Yahusha came to a people, his people, to establish a covenant, a people who were ru'ako, a people that could be called by his name, a people who will accept his Ruach HaKodesh, thereby accepting him and his Father to come and dwell in us, now being adopted and grafted by the Ruach HaKodesh, made sons and daughters of Elohiym. Listen, not just because you Hebrew, right? Listen, but there's something to be said about being Hebrew. Paul said, listen, understand something, right? Has Yahuah casted away his people? Has Yahuah casted away Yasharal and Yahudah? He said, Elohiym forbid. Yahuah has established an eternal covenant with his people, and there is going to come a time when he wakes them up. Hello, guess what? Yahuah has woken, he has awakened his people, but not just to who they are, because a lot of Yasharal understand it's not just about who they are, but whose they are by possession of the Ruach HaKodesh. You have to have the spirit of Yahuah and Yahusha to really reign in his kingdom. Listen, you got to have the Ruach HaKodesh. And with this Ruach HaKodesh, signs will follow. Look, Hebrew, look, brew, look, Hebrew, look, brew. You have to understand that it ain't just being Hebrew. It's not just being Hebrew. It's not just bearing the name Yah. There were Hebrews that bore the name of Yahuah and walked away from the covenant, the contract, right, and went into captivity because of their disobedience. There was a whole northern kingdom that Yahuah has referred to as the Gentiles because they became cold-hearted idolaters. Oh man, the nation of Ephraim, the kingdom of the northern kingdom, it became as Gentiles to Yahuah because they became idol worshipers. They served the elves of the other nation, and Yahuah cast them off. They literally became Gentiles to him. But he's gathering his people. Yasharal and Yahudah, he's gathering his people. He's gathering his people. Listen, Yahuah has always had a plan to establish a people, a kingdom. He was establishing it with Adam and Havah, but they messed it up. They gave dominion to Hasatan, and Hasatan took it, and he became the El of this world, right? He replaced Adam and Havah in the Eretz. Because of their sin and disobedience, they only had one Torah. They only had one law, and that law was not to eat of the tree. That's all they had to do. They didn't know good and evil, so there was nothing to break. There was no commandments to break other than the commandment that Yahuah had given not to eat of the tree. They had one Torah. They had one Torah, and we say, oh, well, you know, there's no way we could keep the Torah because we got over 600 and something laws. Listen, with the Ruach HaKodesh, you can keep every Torah law that there is. Because it is him and Yahusha in you. All of those laws weren't assigned or ascribed to us as individuals. Some were ascribed to the Levitical priesthood. Of course, there's laws that are in that we can't uphold because we ain't priests. We ain't of the tribe of Levi, right? But Yahusha has made us kings and priests now. Through the blood of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, there's every law that's in that book we can keep. Oh, come on. You can keep the Torah. Don't just tell me you're a Torah keeper and you don't have Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and you don't have his Ruach HaKodesh because you ain't a Torah keeper. You can't keep the Torah. You don't have what you need in you to keep the Torah. You need Yahusha and Yahuah in you. You need the Ruach HaKodesh, which is the comforter. But the Ruach HaKodesh convicts by the Torah that you have put in you of righteousness. And it convicts of unrighteousness. The Ruach HaKodesh will reveal your sin. See, if you ain't got the Ruach HaKodesh, man, you're going to do whatever you want to do and think that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay that I dabble in Babylon. It's okay. Yahusha understands. Yahuah understands. You know, he know we are people that sometimes need to have some fun. What? In the age and the dispensation we're in, listen, we've been sheep to the slaughter from the very time that we left, from the very time that we went into captivity and left in 70 AD. We have been sheep to the slaughter. We ain't never had an opportunity to have fun. Technically, in Yahusha, we should have been carrying the Besorah of truth until the end, but we didn't. We were bamboozled by the Islams and the Moors and the Muslims. We were bamboozled by the Catholicism, the Catholicism and their elves. We were bamboozled. Yeah, we left Yahuah. We left Yahuah. We left the Torah. We left faith in Hamashiach and accepted this perverted distortion called Christianity. And this perverted distortion of Islam. All of them dabble in the Torah. All of them take from the Torah and the Besorah, but none of it is righteous. Only is righteous is Yahuah, Yahusha, and the Besorah and the Torah of truth, not the Talmud. Listen, you're Hebrews, but as Hebrews, you're called to restore the order that Yahuah has established in the earth by Yahusha Ha'Mashiach in obedience, waking up your brethren and reaching out to the Gentiles. And listen. Everywhere Paul preached there's a synagogue. There was a place of Jewish worship. There was a place of Yahudim worship, right? But these places were because there were Hebrews in these places. There were some Hebrews that were devout Hebrews in these places, and then there was those Hebrews that became Greeks and Grecians and became Hellenized, right? They were Gentiles. But there were also the people that were of those lands that heard what was being preached, and they were like, "Ooh, I like that. That makes sense. You know, what do I need to do to inherit that? What do I need to do to partake, to participate in that?" And they became a part of the faith. Listen, Yahuah has a people, and they're Hebrews. We're remembering who we are, but we've stopped at this place where we just identify with who we are. And when Yahuah is calling us to wake up and receive Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and be filled with his Ruach HaKodesh, that's what we are. We are a called out people. We're a called out assembly. He called us out by giving us the Torah. He made us separate from every other nation. And these nations knew Elohiym. They knew the all-powerful one. They knew Elohiym. They knew Yahuah, El Shaddai. They knew El Shaddai, El Elyon. He was known to DIVREI as El Elyon. Listen. Yahuah had a people, right? He had to establish a kingdom. He had to establish a people that was going to obey him. Listen, Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Well, we know what Ham did. Ham was a Baal worshiper. Japheth, they were all worshipers of other elves. But there was something about this man, DIVREI, that didn't follow after the elves of his father, Terah, right? I believe his name was Terah. Anyway, he didn't follow after his father's elves. Actually, he tore them down, destroyed them, and it made his father mad. He was serving the true Elohiym, El Elyon, El Shaddai. And Yahuah said, okay, this is the man. This is the seed. Yeah, this is the seed. This is the seed that I am going to bring my nation through. This is the seed that I am going to use to establish my kingdom in the earth. Not Japheth, not Ham, not Cush, not not Ethiopia. Come on, not Ham, not Japhet, Shem. So now you know, you Hebrews. So now you're awakened, you Hebrews. Now you've had DNA verification. You know you're Hebrews, right? No, now you done trace your lineage back and you recognize that you the people. So what? What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do? You gonna continue as your fathers did? You gonna continue as your forefathers did? And walk in the disobedience that they did? Or you gonna receive Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, right? And receive the baptism of his Ruach HaKodesh and start establishing the kingdom of the Lord first amongst your brethren. And then to the other nations. Listen, there's nothing new under the sun. We're just doing what Yahusha did with the apostles and the prophets. We're doing what Yahusha did with his apostles, right? He awakened them to the name of Yahuah. He told Yahuah in his prayer in the 17th chapter of YOCHANON, he said, Yahuah, the words that you have given me, I've given to this people. I've given them your name. I've given them your name. I've helped them to understand. I helped them to understand what they are and who they are. They had an idea. But they weren't keeping Torah. They weren't keeping Torah. Here Peter trying to build 3 tabernacles, one to Moshe, one to Moshe, one to Elias, and one to Yahuah. One to Yahusha. You don't know the Torah. Yahusha already said that he was the son of Elohiym. His name represents that. Yahusha, Yah salvation. But yet they want to build altars. He want to build an altar. He want to build a tabernacle, a place of dwelling. What? You bumped your head. Yahuah said, this is my son. You better hear him. Right? Because he has the words of life. He is the truth. The way. He is the life. It's not just being Hebrew. Peter was a Hebrew. Walked with Yahusha for 3 years. And then after he died, he went to fishing. What'd that tell you? It wasn't about being just Hebrew. And it wasn't definitely about just keeping the Torah. He needed the Ruach HaKodesh. He needed to fulfill everything that Yahusha had said that he had to do in order to be a part of the kingdom. To be elves in the kingdom, to serve in his kingdom. You as a people, they're Hebrews. They're Hebrews. They're not Japhet. They're not Hebrews. They're not. There are people that are called by his name, and they're his people, and they're supposed to wake up their people. The other nations, you can't get upset with us because we want to wake up our people. Can't get upset with us because we want to declare the Besorah of truth to the people that Yahuah has called us to. That's what Yahusha did. Yahusha came to his people. He said, listen, I have come to the lost sheep of Yasharah because my father has a covenant with them. I have a covenant with them. We never had a covenant with you. We never had a covenant with the other nations. Right? You had been bamboozled and your fathers have told you lies. Excuse me. Your fathers have lied to you. They've told you that book is about you and it's not. They've told you that that book belongs to you and it don't. They've led you to believe that by what they have created in images that you are the people that are the reflection of that book and you're not. It was never given to you. It was never given. And you know what, right? That's why Yahusha said, don't make any images. Don't make any graven images. Don't make no pictures. Don't do none of that, because he knew that the moment you did that, it would shape the way you think about a thing. Oh yeah. Don't start making these idols, because now you will have a picture of this and you will accept that as something to be worshipped. Right? That's why he never wanted us to do it. But you know what? The heathens did it. They took the Besorah that Yahuah had given to us, and they wrote themselves in it, and they whited out everything that had to do with being Hebrew. And they put their images in it, in their little cartoon Bibles, right? Their children's Bibles and all the rest of the Bibles. They took out images. They created these images, these pictures of all of these European people, right, that are a reflection of who the book is about, the people of Yahuah. Now, am I saying that there's no benefit in being a Gentile? Yeah, there's a benefit. There's a benefit if you accept Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, right? Because you walk in the benefits of being a Gentile. You've existed the entire time that we've been in this arrest, right? From the time that we've been in captivity, you have been blessed. Oh yeah. By virtue of the manipulation that this Christian insanity has perpetuated. It's not enough just to know you Hebrews. But for the same reason, being Hebrew is a good thing. Because we have a Elohiym. And our Elohiym is the most high Elohiym. He is Yahuah Zavaoh. He is Yahuah of the armies. He is El-Elyon. He's the most high El. He is El Shaddai. He is the all-sufficient one. He is the El that is more than enough. And that's who we serve. It ain't God. It ain't the Lord. And it ain't Jesus. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Nothing whatsoever. That is a byproduct of Catholicism. That's a byproduct of Christianity. And it's just evolved. Just evolved. Just evolved. They just evolved. Right? They rewrite it all the time. They rewrite our text to manipulate people to believing by using English and Latin. But listen, if you have the Ruach HaKodesh, you can see through it, because the Ruach HaKodesh will reveal all truth to you. The Ruach HaKodesh is going to let you know. Going to let you know what this book is about. We are Hebrews, yes, and that's a beautiful thing. But listen, because we have an identity now. Oh yeah, we have an identity now. And the other nations know that we have an identity now. They know. Everybody wants to be a Hebrew now. It ain't about being a Hebrew if you ain't a Hebrew. It's about being who you are with the Ruach HaKodesh. It ain't about you being a Hebrew. It's about you and recognizing as a Gentile, Yahuah has called and given you Yeshua. As a Gentile, you ain't a Hebrew. You'll never be a Hebrew. You'll never be an Israelite. You will never be the people. I don't care about this new theology that suggests that, okay, well, Israel is everybody who receives Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. And that's a lie. No, you're a Gentile that has received the Ruach HaKodesh, right? And you walk as who you are, having received the Ruach HaKodesh, but you obey the Torah. You don't change your culture. You don't change your identity. You change yourself in relationship to the obedience to Torah and the Mashiach. Listen, be proud. Be proud of the fact that you have received Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Because your ancestors have done treachery. Your ancestors have done treachery. Listen, there's some people in our ancestry has done treacherous things. There's Boule that's doing treacherous things now. There's IC, UC. These Boules, right? These Farrakhan's. Listen, Islam destroyed, enslaved The people of Yasharal and Yahuah, we should want nothing to do with them clowns. Nothing. That's right, I said it. Nothing. Clowns. Yeah. They've taken excerpts from the Basora. They're with their leader, the honorable, that guy, whoever he is. He know better than the people that established the ICUC, the camps. Made up this fake 12 chart. I don't know if people gonna get mad at me. I don't care. It's the truth. And when you see the Ruach HaKodesh, you'll know the truth, and the truth to make you free. That's what he called us to as Hebrews. Called us to march around in these purple suits. He said y'all have to be destroyed. These boule, they said y'all have to be destroyed. You better wake up. Our people is a Mod Podge Hebrew awakening mess. Gotta have the Ruach HaKodesh. You gotta walk in the Ruach HaKodesh. You got to obey the Ruach. Yeah, so you Hebrews. 2 Chronicles 7 and 11. And Shlomo finished the house of Yahuah. He finished the house of Yahuah. And the king's house and his house. Right? And all that came into Shlomo's heart to make in the house of Yahuah and in his own house, he prosperously effected. He didn't have to do nothing. His father did it all. His father established the nation. He had everything that he needed because his father subdued kingdom, established riches, set up places where he could store this until the temple could be built. Shlomo had wisdom, but he didn't have enough. Shlomo had the Ruach of Yahuah. He had the wisdom of Yahuah, right? But at some point, he gave in to the carnality that is associated with pagan women. Yeah. Not women who have been taken and have shaved their heads, right? Who turned away from their culture, right? And assumed, right, because they became wives to those who took them in Yasharal. Right? Became wives to them. They identified, after they mourned the loss of their parents and the loss of what they accepted as their culture. And once they mourned, after those 30 days, they were wed. I think they were wed then. I don't think they were wed before. But anyway, they were able to wed, and they were accepted as brides to the man of Yisrael. Not what Shlomo was doing. Shlomo was just looking for dimes. Yeah, Shlomo was looking for dimes. He was looking for dimes in Asia, Egypt, Spain, anywhere them dimes were. Solomon was taking them and burying them. And along with them dimes came their elves. And they all wanted their elves in their land of Solomon. Their king. They wanted their elves, and old dumb Solomon, right? Oh yeah, just lost focus on the wisdom of Yahuah, right? Yahuah's Ruach. Shlomo literally set up idols in Yahuwah's land. Put these idols in Yahuwah's temple. Oh, listen. Shlomo finished the temple of Yahuwah. Finished his own house. And Yahuwah appeared to Shlomo in the 7th chapter in the 12th verse of 2nd Chronicles. Appeared to Shlomo by night and said unto him, I have heard thy prayer and have chosen this place for myself and the house of Yasharal, a house to sacrifice. Right? A house to sacrifice. If I shut up the heavens, if I don't let it rain, and I'm going to do this because you turn from me, right? If I shut up the heavens, that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or I send pestilence among people. Now listen. This is what Yahuwah does. This is how Yahuwah operates. Yahuwah operates this. Listen. Man, I don't know if I remember the story. There was 1816. 1816. Yes. Let me see. Right. And I think it was 1816 or 1811. Might have been 1811. Anyway, there's a reason why I'm saying this. I think it was 1811. Yes, 1811. Right? There was a series of events that took place in 1811, right? Thomas, I think it was Thomas Jefferson's nephew, right? Oh, wait a minute, where's that at? Oh, man, I wish I had that. Maybe I shouldn't even dive into that, Yahuwah. Thomas Jefferson had a nephew, right? He was the president at the time. And Thomas Jefferson's, let me do this. Thomas Jefferson had a nephew, right? Or no, was it nephew or was it son-in-law? No, it was his son-in-law. Thomas Jefferson had it was his son-in-law. Anyway, he had this member of his close family, right? And it was December 16th. Anyway, I'm just gonna lay this out to you, and you research it. Thomas Jefferson had Lisburn Lewis. It was his nephew, right? And his nephew, right, was in Kentucky, right? Had a slave plantation because they were slave owners. Thomas Jefferson, they were all slave owners, right? And his nephew, right, had this plantation, right? And on this plantation, right, he had this slave, little boy slave, right? And the little boy slave that he had, right? He broke a glass. Broke a glass. It infuriated this nephew of his. Right? Infuriated him. Right? And this nephew of his, right? Right? Took one of the slaves, took the slave. I mean, this account is interesting. I'm going to read it to you. Yahuah, I'm going to read this. Lewis, right, then listen, this man, right, this man, his nephew, right, took this slave. No, what he did was he took all the slaves, right, and gathered them up. And had this one slave set aside. And he put them all in a place where they can witness, but they were secured, right? And he took this little boy, right? This boy, right? Right? And started chopping him in pieces, alive. He started with his feet. The boy is screaming. Can you imagine the screams and the terror? Right? His nephew, Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson. The great President Thomas Jefferson, the slave owner. His nephew. Chopped the boy's feet off. One by one. Boy's still alive screaming. The people witnessing this, right? Then he chopped his leg from his thighs. Then he chopped his hamstring. And all the time he's chopping this boy into pieces. And he's made this fire. And each time he chops the feet off, he tosses it into the fire while the boy screams. Then he chops the other foot to the fire while the boy screams. On up until the point where the boy is totally dismembered and burning in the fire. People's crying and screaming. Now his wife hears this commotion and he comes to her, she comes to him, and she says to him, man, what was the disturbance? I don't understand. What was that noise about? I heard people screaming and wailing, and then it smelled like something like burnt flesh, right? And he went on to tell her how that was the most pleasurable experience that he has ever had, right? And the very next day, they had a prolific earthquake in that area. Earthquake ain't never happened in that area before. But Yahuah heard the cries of his people, and he just sent an earthquake. It's documented. Now, they don't ascribe the earthquake to the actions, but it happened the very next day. And I happened to stumble upon this whole idea, and I had to research why there was this earthquake. The earthquakes are generally occur on the West Coast, but they had one over here, right here in the middle, almost smack dab in the middle of Kentucky. In this place called Marad. Anyway, it was in the Spanish colony of the Americas on the border of the American colonies. Yahuah, the very next day, out of nowhere, sent an earthquake. Because, see, that's what Yahuah does. But, see, they explain it away, Well, oh, man, you got these natural catastrophes and natural disasters, these hailstorms, these floods, that's Yahuah riding. That's Yahuah judging, moving. And listen, he's woken up the sleeping lion. He's waking up. He has roused him from his sleep. He's waking up the nation of Yasharal and Yahudah. He's waking up Yahudah from the prey. My son now has gone up. He stooped. He crouched like a young lion, like an old lion. Who can rouse him up? Yahuah is rousing up the nation. But you got to have Ruach HaKodesh. Oh, yeah. He's woken up his nation. But only those who receive Yahusha Ha'Mashiach's witness in the Ruach HaKodesh will be the Els. They will be those who tear to pieces. One will put 1,000 to flight. Two will put 10,000 to flight because they have the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuah in them, and they are Els in the earth. Look that story up. Look it up. Look it up. Right? Look up what occurred on this day in 2011. Is it 2011? This day, right? Look at the story. Read the story. And then look at the events that happened the very next day in the same area. When his people call on him, he answers. That wicked, devilish heathen dismembered a Hebrew boy, a man-child, limb by limb, and tossed it on the fire. And Yahuah brought an earthquake the next day. I would beg her to say it was in 7 to 12 hours. Listen. That's why Shlomo knew that if the people of Yasharal and Yahudah started experiencing these things, it was because they had disobeyed Yahuah. They disobeyed Yahuah. They had disobeyed Yahuah. Verse 13. If I shut up the Shamayim. What did Yahuah say in Deuteronomy 20th chapter, starting at the 15th verse? That these things would happen. He would say plagues, diseases. These things would happen. Your hair women would fall out. These things would happen. You would get baldness. Haughty baldness. These things would happen. Sons and daughters will be sold into slavery. These things have happened. But it ain't going to happen again because that time is up. See, the awakening is Yahuah rousing them up. It's getting them up. But the quickening of the Ruach HaKodesh are to those that he's chosen in the nation. And it's only going to be a remnant. But again, you don't need many. Because if you have the Ruach HaKodesh in you, you'll put 1,000 to flight. Two of you put 10,000 to flight. Because you'll be Els in the earth in his kingdom. But do you want to be an El in his kingdom? Do you want to receive Yahusha Ha'Mashiach's witness? Do you want to be a El having received his Ruach HaKodesh? Yeah, it may cost you your life. Yeah, it may cost you your life. But you know what? If there's a battle to be fought, I'd rather fight on the side of righteousness as an El, having received his Ruach HaKodesh, than to fight as a Hebrew, right? Raising up arms, right? Because we keep the Torah. You're going to die. You're going to die because Yahushua Mashiach's come. Now, back in the day, before Yahushua Mashiach, right? You was keeping the Torah. Keeping the Torah. And Yahuah said to you to go up, and you went up, and you laid waste, and won, because he told you to go up, and he was with you. Yahusha Ha'Mashiach was with you. Malachim was with you. You could put 10,000 to flight. David's men fought supernaturally, because Yahuah was with him. But Yahusha's come. And Yahusha's trying to establish Els in the earth by the Ruach HaKodesh. It ain't enough to be Hebrew. Listen. He said, if I shut up the heavens and be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people. His people. Yahuah don't care about none of these other nations. He doesn't care about any of these other nations and their wars and their fighting and their destruction. He don't care about that. Yahuah is waiting for the time that we rise as Els and we put it all down. Yahusha. Yahuah is just who has the time? Just listen, man. These nations aren't my people. They ain't my people. They don't serve me. Islam doesn't serve Yahuah. I don't care how Fahrenheit. I don't want anybody to flag me because I mentioned the name. I don't know. I don't care how Fahrenheit switches back from being the white man being the devil, and in the same breath shaking hands with him and being a part of the what you call it with the G, the Masons. They the devil, but he hugging and kissing Ashkenaz. Yeah, they all devils. They all have been sent as emissaries of Hasatan to take away the people of Yahuah and set them for destruction. But Yahuah is has roused the lions, the young lions. Yes. So he says, if my people which are called by his name, listen. Yashruel and Yehuda, you are his people. This is about you. This is your heritage. This is your culture, right? If my people which are called by my name, right? If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from the Shamayim, right? Then will I hear from my Shamayim. I will forgive their sins and heal their lands. As a nation of people, it's not enough just to know that you're a Hebrew. Right? It's not enough just to turn without turning to faith in Hamashiach. It's not about just turning to the Torah. It's turning to the Torah and the Besorah. Yahusha Ha'Mashiach's Torah and Besorah. It's about faith in Hamashiach. It's about receiving the Besorah of truth and walking in that truth, the Torah of truth, and receiving the witness, the way, the truth, and the life, the Ruach HaKodesh. Yahusha said, I have given them your name. Let's look at something here. Yahusha says this in YOCHANON, the 17th chapter. These words spake Yahusha as he lifted up his eyes to the Shamayim and said to the Father, Abba, the hour is come, the time, right, in which I am to glorify you in the earth, right? The time in which I am to offer up myself as the sacrifice to be hung on a tree, to be put into a grave, transported into Sheol, then transported out of Sheol by the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, right? Taking his blood to the Shamayim and to sprinkle it upon the altar of Elohiym, right? And then have Yahuah be pleased and position us to receive his Ruach HaKodesh. He said, the hours come, glorify thy son, that thy son might glorify thee. That in this process we may establish your elves in the earth, that we may begin establishing your kingdom in the earth, right? We got to gather the people, right? You can't establish no kingdom without gathering the people. What is a kingdom without subjects? It's somebody's house. Somebody's big house. Big house. You have to have subjects for a kingdom, right? You have to have subjects for a kingdom. You have to have people who participate in this kingdom, right? Yahusha was come to establish the kingdom of elves in the earth, right? Yahusha commissions his disciples to go and gather elves for the kingdom of Elohiym. Those who are going to serve as elves in the earth. And these people are not concerned about their life in the natural because they're eternal. They're already established by the Ruach HaKodesh. And they're kept until the end, right? They're kept until the end. And when the time comes, they're going to reign as elves in the earth. It's just going to happen. They're going to reign as elves in the earth. Because they're the people of Elohiym. Because they serve him in Ruach and in truth. Oh yeah. There is people. Now, they are gathered from amongst the people who Yahuah had already had a covenant with. Yahuah had established this kingdom in Avraham seed. Yitzhak and Jacob. He's established his kingdom in a people that he pulled out of Mitzrayim. He's established with his people that because they were disobedient, he allowed them to go back, and they allowed him to go back into captivity, but he has delivered us again. Oh yeah, he's delivered us again. Yahusha Ha'Mashiach has set the captives free through faith in his name, through faith in his blood. We have been made free. He has quickened us by his Ruach HaKodesh. He's made us alive. He's put us in the kingdom of Elohiym. We are sons and daughters. We are part of the beloved. We are his children. We are his sheep. We are the sheep of his fold. We are the sheep of his fold. We are the sheep that he came to. Listen what he says. As thou hast given him power over all flesh by the Ruach HaKodesh. Yahusha had power over all flesh by the Ruach HaKodesh which he had without measure, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him. Now Yahusha's calling those things that be not as though they were. Because the eternal life come as a result of having received the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and having received the Ruach HaKodesh, because that's the life force. But it's only to those that Yahuah has given him in the nation. Those that have been called out in the nation. Those that Yahuah has given him. He says, for this is eternal life, that they may know thee, the only true Elohiym, that they may know thee, the only true Elohiym, and Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, whom he sent. Because to know, to be intimately acquainted with Yahuah and Yahusha, comes only by the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, you ain't walking around here intimately acquainted with Yahuah and Yahusha apart from the Ruach HaKodesh. You ain't. His spirit has to bear witness with your spirit. There has to be a oneness to the Ruach HaKodesh. He says, I have glorified thee on the earth. I have finished the work which thou hast given him to do. See, now Yahushua was about work. He wasn't about fun. Yahushua was about work. He wasn't about fun. I have glorified thee in the earth, and I have finished the work which thou hast given me to do. And now, O Father, glorify thou me as with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the beginning. He says, listen, Father, I'm ready to be restored back to the way I was when I was with you. I know it's going to be a 3 or 4 day process, but I'm ready. Because there's a whole lot of things that I got to do in order to get to that point. I still gotta suffer. These Pharisees and these Sadducees punching me and hitting me in my face. I still gotta suffer Pilate and his soldiers putting 40 lashes on my back. I still have to suffer it. I still got to suffer the crown of thorns that they're going to plant in my head. I still got to suffer it. I still got to bear this tree, and I still got to be hung on this tree. I still got to bear it. I still got to go into Sheol, and I got to let Hasatan know and everybody else that I have dominion over them and that I have come to bruise their head. I'd let it do it. Come to tell them their authority is over. And I got to go to Shamayim with the blood that was to be sprinkled upon the altar. And then I have to be able to say, have you hear you say to me, I'm pleased. And I can say, Father, I need you to make sure that they have the Ruach HaKodesh, because they just ain't going to make it without the Ruach HaKodesh. I can tell you right now, Peter and the disciples, they got to have the Ruach HaKodesh. They ain't going to make it. They ain't nobody going to make it without the Ruach HaKodesh. We ain't got to give it to them without measure. We just, give them enough. Listen, we're going to give them enough just to make them L's. So they'll have power to do whatever it is they need to do for the kingdom. See, if we had Ruach power unlimited, man, we be putting mansions and Lamborghinis and yeah, man, we be in all kinds of adultery and whoredom. But see, Yahuah gave us enough to do the miracles and the work that he needs to do in the earth. Like, because our flesh has understood sin. Yahusha's did. He can have the Ruach without measure. He wasn't gonna mess it up. See, yeah. We was born in sin. We familiar with sin. We dabbled in sin. Yeah. Some of us didn't dabble. Some of us swam, tread water, went all in. Yeah. Woo. Okay, so he says, "O now, Father, glorify me with thine own self, with the glory which I have with thee from the worlds began. I have manifested thy name." And now listen. Yahusha had to manifest his name to the nation again. He had to manifest the name of Yahuah, and he had to bring to him Yahuah's salvation. So in essence, he was manifesting his name because his name is Yahusha, Yah, salvation. So he had to manifest Yahuwah's name. What did Yahusha say to them? He says, if my people, which are called by my name, he had to manifest his name to his people. Yahudim. Listen. It ain't enough to be Hebrew. You have to receive the name of Yahuah, salvation. You have to receive Yah, salvation. Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, you have to. Otherwise, you're going to be just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees that's going to die in their sins as Hebrews. You're going to be like them unbelieving brews that says, well, I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I got to be at Shabbat on the Sabbath day. I got to keep Shabbat. I don't believe that what you're talking about, but I got to keep Shabbat. It's a Shabbat. It's a Sabbath. Have not received the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, have not received the Ruach HaKodesh, have no signs whatsoever following them that believe. And again, them that believe are those who have received the entire testimony of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Not just water baptism, not just receiving and confessing Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, but being baptized, as YOCHANON said, with the Ruach HaKodesh, which sets us apart to the kingdom of Elohiym. This is not rocket science, but it's Ruach. You have to have the Ruach HaKodesh to discern these things. You have to have the Ruach HaKodesh to discern these matters. You have to have the Ruach HaKodesh, because without the Ruach HaKodesh, you are not going to make it. Hebrews, you ain't going to make it without the Ruach HaKodesh. You are Hebrews, but you still ain't going to make it without the Ruach HaKodesh. You got to have the witness of Yahusha and Yahuwah. Yahusha says, I have manifested thy name unto them which thou hast given me out of the world. You gave them to me out of the world, which means that he chose them from out amongst the nation to have his Ruach HaKodesh in them, right, to establish Yahuwah's kingdom in the earth, to establish the order, the administration and the operation. See, now as the people of Yahuwah, if we would have continued in Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, right, then the kingdoms would establish. That's why a lot of our kingdoms flourished initially. After they left in AD, after they got out, when Yahusha said you better get out, the ones that got out, they left with the Ruach HaKodesh, they flourished. But you know what? Like all things in time, if confronted with calamity, right? Confronted calamity, like the calamity that comes with the Roman government and empire that comes into the territory that's yours, and they say it's theirs by order of an edict that is handed out by a pope. That's calamity. But that's the order. Yahuwah's ordered this thing. But you have to still comply. You have to walk in the Basor of truth. You can't roll over. Oh yeah, well, we're gonna take your children unless you accept this Catholic religion. Oh, don't take my kids. Okay, I'll become Catholic. I'll become Christian. Walk around in these long white and these long black gowns with these white collars, being pedophiles. Yeah, I said it. Molesting little kids in the name of Christianity. in the name of Christianity. Yeah, I told you about the time that I had the Ruach HaKodesh, man. You was telling me, look, I need you to go in and I need you to testify on my behalf. I'm like, oh yeah. We got a pastor over here that's in this church that's molesting boys. Christian pastor. Molesting boys. And, administration knew it. Right? The people. So the people knew it because they had their kids. Right? Man had left the assemblies the church that he was at before, doing the same thing, and ended up at this church. And for crazy, because out of the blue, I just started attending this church. Participating in it. It's Assemblies of God. What is this? It was I can't remember. It was an Assemblies church. It was one of the assembly churches. And I'm in this assembly. Been there for maybe about a month. You says, and I need you to be a voice piece for me. I'm like, I thought, he was going to use me as youth pastor or something. That's what I thought he was going to do. Right? No, not at all. Found out. He revealed it to me that, look, this is what's happening. Right? Now, when I tell you to open your mouth and speak, I want you to open your mouth and speak. I'm like, okay, so, I knew I could tell it was approaching. I just knew it was approaching. And so I began to pray and I began to fast. I'm like, man, pray. And I'm like, give me what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't tell you people. He said, I told you I'm going to tell you what to say. I go, oh, man, yes. So I'm at the church, right? Shoot, man, there was easily 600-700 people in this church, right? Yeah, I'm a Hebrew. And most of the people in there ain't Hebrews. The population of Hebrews was probably about 10%. Maybe 20. And I knew the day it was going to happen. I knew because Yahuah says, today is the day. Oh, man. Yahuah, you're going to have to use your Ruach HaKodesh. So I'm sitting down. Right? Sitting down in the pew. In the middle. Bunch of people on the side. They had the ushers, big congregation. Sitting in there. And all of a sudden, Yahuah said, stand up and cry Ichabod. So I stood up and I said, Ichabod, 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 screaming at the loud of my voice. The glory of Yahuah, or I didn't say Yahuah, has departed. Ichabod. The glory of Yahuah has departed. Man, listen, these big white ultras, man, they come running over to me, getting in between the pews, grabbing me and dragging me out, and I kept saying it. You listen. It's Ruach HaKodesh. It's the Ruach HaKodesh. And then they done pulled me out to the foyer. Right? And I'm in tears, weeping before Yahuah. And here come this pastor running. And it's funny because once they was dragging me out, I was watching them get up out of the pulpit and start running. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then as I'm out in the foyer, he runs and he comes through his doors and he sees me. It's like he's seen a ghost. And he runs out the church and don't come back. Now, I happen to know he didn't come back because I stayed there for a little while. Not much longer after that, but a little while. And the associate pastor, it was a female at the time, she said, the Lord really used you. She wanted me to hang around. Oh, yeah. She had me teaching. She had me teach a couple servants. Leah said, no, that's not, no. It's time for you to go. I gotta go. And I left. But the Ruach HaKodesh, that's what he does. Listen, the Ruach HaKodesh is going to testify to Yahuah. He's going to declare a word. He's going to declare a word. That's what he's called Yahshua and Yehudah to do, to declare a word, to set his people free, right? To set his people free, right? And now, did those people ever, I don't know where, I don't even know how they, I don't know what Yahuwah did after that. I really don't know. All I know is that there had to be somebody that had petitioned Yahuwah enough that Yahuwah sent me to this place and called me to say what I said. It had to be somebody. I don't know who it was, but there was somebody. Oh, y'all don't hear me. Listen. It's about glorifying his name. Yahusha said he has manifested his name unto the men which he had given him out of the world, and he gave them me, and they have kept your word. Yahuwah knew that I would keep his word. Yahuwah knew that I would say what he wanted me to say. Don't make me nobody except his mouthpiece. I love not my life unto death. Y'all don't hear me. I love not my life unto death. There's nothing that this life can give me that I won't have Ruach. See, the Ruach is gain. Shaul knew it. For me to live is Hamashiach, because I can do his will, but me to die, listen, that's eternal life. That's Ruach, kingdom service. Yeah. That's knowing that Yahuwah and Yahusha's kingdom is in me, and it's established, and it will be established. Listen, he says, now they have known that all things whatsoever thou hast given me are of thee. For I have given unto them the words. Now, Yahuwah's words are his commandments, his Torah. Because listen, these brews got away from that. They done got all twisted up in the traditions of men. They have gotten all twisted up in this Babylonian Talmud. All of this religious, wicked, politicians, Pharisees, Sadducees, money groveling, position seeking, lying Torah keeping. Oh, man. He said, listen, he had to give him the word. See, that's why Yahuwah is waking us up. And he's giving me to give you this word. Right? And there are those that Yahuwah has chosen that are going to receive this Torah, this Basura, this word, that in order to be the people of Yahuwah, you have to not only be awakened to who you are, but you have to be awakened to who Hamashiach is, and you have to be baptized with his Ruach HaKodesh. It's a prerequisite, right? It's expedient. It is not open for compromise. Every person in Acts that had did anything for Yahuwah in the name of Yahusha had to have received the Ruach HaKodesh, right? They had to, and if they didn't, and Yahuwah had called them, he made provisions for them to find somebody that would point them in the right direction and make sure that they have the Ruach HaKodesh, because they have the heart and the desire to do the work of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah is not going to just not let them do his work. He's just going to make sure that they have all the proper tools, the right equipment, that they're fortified with the Ruach HaKodesh so they can have some signs follow. Because, you know, it's more than just enough. It's more than just to baptize somebody with the water and speak a word of Yahusha over them. You got to lay hands on the sick and demonstrate the power. You have to cast out devils and demonstrate the power. And then you got to lay hands on them people that you done cast the Ruach out so that they could receive the Ruach HaKodesh, because ain't nobody with the Ruach HaKodesh walking around with devils. I say it again because it bears repeating. Nobody, anybody, nada, no way, it ain't happening. People walking around with the Ruach HaKodesh that has demons. Yahuah does not share, Yahusha do not share their temple with the devils. It don't happen. They ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it. So, part of that job is, in casting out devils, you make sure that they understand who Yahusha Ha'Mashiach is, and that their body was designed to be the house of the Ruach HaKodesh. They were to be the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh, and in this temple, they do not defile it, but they put the Ruach, they receive the gift of the Ruach HaKodesh, which is on the inside, that causes that righteous power to come from the inside out. And they can do miracles. They can have signs. And yes, they do speak with other tongues, as the Spirit give utterance. The Ruach HaKodesh. So, Yahusha said, the words you have given me, I have given them, and they have received them, and have known surely that I came out of thee, and they believe that thou didst send me. Right? He says, I pray for them. I pray not for the world. Listen, this Ruach HaKodesh ain't for the world. It is for the Yahudim first, and to the other nations. Oh, yeah, no, y'all ain't gonna like me, because I've established an order, as if Yahuah is going to all of a sudden operate outside that order. Yeah. That he's going to give the Ruach HaKodesh to Christians who don't know him, who worship other elves. Yeah. You think he's going to get a Ruach HaKodesh to a people, right, who killed his people, enslaved his people. He's just going to get them the Ruach HaKodesh. Yeah. See, you done got twisted up in this whole idea of this lie that, you know, all of a sudden now, you know, there is no difference between the Jew nor the Greek. Yeah, there is a difference, but the difference is not because of the Ruach, right? The difference is because we are the people of Yahuah. And the no difference is that Yahuah will allow others to receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Yeah. There's probably more that I can say. But this one thing I do know. I don't pray for the world. No. I don't pray for the world. I don't pray for those who go out and sin. I don't. I don't pray for those who have a desire to sin. But we're supposed to pray for everybody. I'm going to follow Yahusha's lead. I'm going to follow Yahusha's lead. Yahusha says he don't pray for the world. He prays for them. He prays for them. He prays for them, which Yahuah has given them, which he has given him, for they are thine. Yahuah, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach for everyone that's under the sound of my voice, that you have given to hear the Besorah of truth at the mouth of your manservant, who speaks the Besorah of truth by the Ruach HaKodesh with the Emunah of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Ruach of truth. Yahuah, my prayer is that those that you have chosen to receive your Ruach HaKodesh will walk in the strength of this power, that they will demonstrate by your Ruach the power that comes with signs following. That they would recognize it's not enough just to know that we're the people, but we needed to know that we had a heritage that is rich because it was stripped from us. We needed to know that we had an El-Elyon, an El Shaddai, a Yahuah Zavaoh that was ours, who had a people who he had made a perpetual eternal covenant with that could not be broken. He renewed it because of their willful disobedience. But you restored a people by faith in Hamashiach and receiving the Ruach HaKodesh. You reestablish your kingdom of Els, called to gather a nation of people who are awakened to who they are, but need the Ruach HaKodesh. Father, grant them the insight. Grant them the truth. In the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. Listen. Yahuah has a people which are called by his name. He has some lions that he has roused up. Through Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, he is going to cause those lions to stand and rip and tear and exercise authority in the Shamayim and on the Eretz. Will that be you? Or will you just be one that knows he's a Hebrew, or she that knows she a Hebrew? It's bigger than that. That's an identity and a culture. That's who we are. I'm proud to be of the tribe of Yehudah. I'm proud to know where my ancestor ended up. I'm proud to have the information that traces me back all the way to Spain and Portugal. At the time when the people of Yasharah were dispersed to other lands. Which means that we ended up there because we were Yahudim. Right? The kingdom of Judah, the descendants of Judah, was shipped to Spain and Portugal. Two places in Spain and Portugal my DNA is found. Markers. My people were there. Somebody in my lineage survived. Somebody survived being shipped, being stolen, survived. Transatlantic slave trade survived. survived. And because they did, I'm here today. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. That's it we got. That's it. That's all Yahuah has for me and you today. Listen. It's not enough to be Hebrew. It's not enough to be Hebrew. It's not enough to be a Hebrew. Has Yahuah casted away his people? No. He has a covenant with Israel. His covenant with Yehudah. We Hebrews. But the covenant is only effective if you partake in the covenant. And you do everything that you're supposed to do in order to be a participant in that covenant. Hello. Yeah, so I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. I have the Ruach HaKodesh. Yeah. I'm coming with signs following. And listen, I want you to know something. Everybody's on the sound of my voice if you listen to me. If you have something that you need prayer for, you let me know. You let me know, because Yahuwah is going to remove that burden and destroy that yoke. Yeah, you're going to let me know, because there's going to be signs following. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you got something, you better let me know, because there's going to be signs following. Oh, yeah. You're going to let me know. And yoke's going to be broken. Oh, yeah. Because I have the Ruach HaKodesh. And that's what he's called me to do. So with that I say, man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness, woman of Yah, beautifully and wonderfully made. And again, you ain't beautifully and wonderfully made because you wear a bunch of makeup and because, you take selfies. That's not why you're beautiful. That's not even why I even say that you're beautifully and wonderfully made. It's nothing to do with that. It's because you are the people of Elohiym. You are a daughter of Yahuah. And all that stuff, all that contrived stuff, that don't make you beautiful. It's the Ruach HaKodesh in you that makes you beautiful. With that I say, listen, that's all I got. Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.